What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are here at Lake Julian Disc Golf Course looking at fairway drivers, and the Eagle L is up for grabs. The disc that is possibly going to be taking that slot is from Millennium, made by Innova, Quasar Vela, essentially a champion Vela, and this is a slightly flatter, slightly more understable Eagle. This is a slightly flatter, well, actually it's a little bit domey. This is a slightly more understable Eagle. This is a slightly more understable Eagle. How do they match up? How do they compare? And which one of these needs to be the one in my bag? Let's get into it. We're gonna go ahead, since it's been in the bag, we're gonna go Eagle L first. From the long pad here. Just make sure we commit to a hyzer release so don't accidentally turn them over into the lake. I love that flight. Just stands up super straight, falls back down. A little bit more wind or a little bit less hyzer release. Get a little bit of a drift out of it. See if we can manipulate the Vela to do the same thing. Pretty similar. Obviously, it could have been a slightly different angle of release, but the Vela did drift a tiny bit that the Eagle L did not do. But both throws were amazing. This is one of my favorite fairway tunnels on the course. And this is the slot that about 50, 60, maybe even 70% of the time I'd be reaching for this disc if I'm trying to get aggressive. If I'm trying to play safe, obviously just forehand, but something that's going to give me a little bit of turn is perfect so that we don't end up fading out into the lake. Both of them were technically OB, but the Eagle L would have had a better putt. So, Eagle L with 1 point. Oh, hit something. 3. Didn't get the turn I was expecting out of it. Let's see if the Vela works out better. Well, I guess technically a lucky tree on both sides. Eagle L landed OB and shorter. Did not get the turn I was hoping I would get out of it. Vela got the turn, maybe a tiny bit too early, but the Vela did get the turn. So Vela with 1 point, Eagle L with 1 point. And these discs are really fun to throw. So I think the question really comes down to not necessarily how well I throw it, but more stability, because these both feel very confident, very comfortable. So I think the Vela might be a touch more understable than the Eagle. And I mean, well, the flight numbers would indicate that negative 1.52 versus the negative 1.2 of the Eagle L. So maybe a touch more understable is probably to be expected. Let's see how tight we can lace this gap. We want to have it just dead in the center of the gap. A little bit of turn. Okay, so the turn on the Eagle L being a little bit more subtle with this headwind makes it a little bit easier for this shot. But let's switch the equation, change the headwind to a tailwind. Which one flies better now? Right now it's Eagle L with 2 points, Vela with 1. So, Eagle L's first. Oh, this is about perfect. Tiny bit pulled, but it looked like with the touch more hyzer I gave the Vela that it probably would have ended up being about the same shot. But do I want something that's easier to turn and a little bit more understable? Or do I want that slightly more reliable in the wind? That I'm not sure about. But Eagle L with 3 points over 1 from the Vela. This is one of those fairways where if I hit the correct release point, a little bit more turn would actually be beneficial. Can we get a little bit more turn? Eagle has the box. That's about the cleanest I've ever thrown this fairway. You see how much more hyzer the Vela came out on? And it still flipped to flat, and with a little bit more height might have turned over. Do I want that much of an understable disc? I think if I were to do that, it would battle more the spot of the jackalope, not the eagle. Interesting. That's 4 for the Eagle L. That's you know which hole we're gonna close it out on, and you know which disc is gonna win out this battle. But that doesn't mean the Vela is going away. That just means it might be a different slot. As far as fairway power goes, I think this one is actually gonna be a little bit more stable. But as far as distance driver power goes, this one is definitely more understable. So let's see how it fares. We have a little bit of right to left wind, so hopefully it'll keep these on some hyzer, but let's see how long they hold them for. The Eagle is going to win out. The Eagle L is winning out, but the Vela may return for a different slot. And I hit the Mando pole. And let's see if the Vela will stay just a tiny bit straighter. Oh no, that was a very worse throw. Yeah, that's what happens when I try to hyzer too much. So the Eagle L wins out for today, but I still love the Vela. I still love that flight. Want to bring it back to a battle against the jackalope, so stay tuned for that one. Hopefully you guys enjoy content like this. If so, please make sure to like the video. If you want to see new stuff, make sure to comment all of that down below. Please make sure to subscribe. It helps you guys out with these subscriber-only giveaways. And if you guys want to join my membership, you'll be entered into monthly giveaways. Until next time, see you out on the course.